Hey everyone, so I know I do this intro all the time now, but people ask me from time to time about Mercier, so I felt it was important to just give you a cute little intro. So I have been adding some more things. I'm going to take some pictures of some blushes sometime this week and put those up. I have some skincare and some fragrance and some body care I need to put up, in addition to a little bit more fashion. But on to the video. Check it out when you get a chance. What's up everyone? It is your girl Gelbeauty-QM here, aka Grace Honey, and today we're going to get into ranking all of my Blend Bunny palettes. So one of y'all asked me to actually go about doing this, so I was like, okay, say less. So I have 10 Blend Bunny palettes if you include the little Trove quad that came out with the Lure palette. So I'm just including it in there because it is from Blend Bunny. I didn't buy their recent collab palette that came out. I didn't buy the rainbow. I didn't buy the last two collabs basically, and then I don't have the Forgive Me Not palette, the neutral tone palette, because I mean it's me we're talking about. So I will be ranking from the 10 that I do own. So it's basically like a top 10 of, I guess, like Blend Bunny palettes, since I only own 10 palettes. Call it what you will. But hello, my name is Grace. If you like ranking videos like this, if you like new makeup releases, if you like the latest complexion videos, I'm actually testing out the Patrick Ta foundation right now. If you like a good makeup dupe, I dupe makeup, I dupe fragrances, I occasionally dupe eyeshadows. That's usually more of what I do, but recently I haven't found any. If you like a new fragrance release video, the last one I did was on Carousel from Brown Girl Jane. I will be getting Dear Sky in this week though, so you should get a review on that soon. And if you like a good fashion video, I've been trying to do a little bit more fashion now. Somebody asked me about it a while ago, and I've slowly been trying to dip my toe in and get a little bit more regular about doing it. So if you like all those sorts of things, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. But let's get on to this ranking. So I feel like the one that's at the very bottom, no one should be surprised about. I said I wasn't a fan of it from the first time I tried it, and I usually don't have that experience with Blend Bunny palettes. Matter of fact, I feel like this is the only Blend Bunny palette I had the experience with that I did not like it the first time I tried it. And I like the color story and all that, even though a lot of people didn't like the color story of this one because of the way it was situated compared to the traditional way that they set up the palettes for the brand. So I feel like you should already know what I'm talking about. This is the Sickly Sweet palette, so it's number 10 for me. It's my least favorite. I had some issues with patchiness with a certain shade in here. I forgot which one it was. And then there's like a shimmer that I feel like a lot of the shimmers you have to put on top of mattes in order to get like the more colorful effect that you have with the pigmented shimmers, as opposed to these more sheer iridescent shimmers like I'm not usually crazy about. So that's why I personally did not care for this palette. That's why she's at the bottom, because I had a few inconsistencies that I'm not used to having with the brand, so that's why I wasn't a fan of it. Next is number 9. Now I feel like some people might be shocked about this because this definitely is normally my type of color story. I don't know if it's the background of the palette or what exactly it is, or the fact that I already have other palettes that are similar to it, but this color story kind of disappointed me a little bit. But I still bought the palette and it's still good quality. It's just because I already own, I think, 2 or 3 other palettes that are similar to it, it wasn't as exciting for me. So this is the Longing palette. This is the last Blend Bunny palette I bought that they came out with, besides the 2 collabs that they came out with this year. And it's just okay to me. I can't hold it up too much because like the green shade in here has completely shattered, and I did not press it back into place with alcohol yet, so it'll just be a whole bunch of crumbs. But I'll swatch that one so you can see what it looks like. So this is the shade that broke on me. Of course, it was the one I was most excited about that shattered, because I like these shades that shift to green and gold and kind of silver-ish looking. If you're curious what's the rest of on the back of my hand, this is Notoriously Morbid, what is it called, Madame Violet. Shout out to my bestie Dionluvsmakeup. She gets PR from them, and so she was so kind and sent it over to me. But this is what the palette looks like on the inside. As you can see, it seems just to be a more muted version of the palette from who those people on Ulta Cosmetics. What is the name of that palette I'm thinking of? It's the one with the 2 girls on it. I forgot the name of it though, but it's really similar to that palette. So I'm like, I don't really necessarily need this one because it's just a deeper tone version of that one, and I actually like the color story of that one. It's better. Not to mention the Beetlejuice and Melt Cosmetics palette. So I'm like, because I had palettes similar to it, it wasn't as exciting for me of a launch, which is okay, but that's why I got ranked at number 9. So number 8, oh by the way, Madame Violet is actually what's on my eyes right now, this palette. Shout out to my girl Dionluvsmakeup. Like I said, she sent it to me, so I'm doing the 3 looks 3 palette video. So I will be popping in a few minutes to do another one. I mean, to show you another eye look with this, so just keep that in mind. Next we have number 7. So number 7 is one that ended up getting discontinued. The brand got harassed by another brand who claims they own the trademark to these words, so she had to discontinue the palette, and it's supposed to come out later again. I think it's supposed to have a little bit of a different color story. Don't quote me, I feel like that's the whispers I've been hearing around, but I liked the palette okay. I wasn't necessarily super crazy about it, but it was better than the other two in my personal opinion when it comes to color story. So this is Sugar and Grunge from Blend Bunny. I like the quality of this one a lot better than the other two as well. Not that the quality of Longing is bad. For me, when it comes to Longing, it's the color story that's just not exciting to me. When it comes to Sickly Sweet, it's the formula that was a little bit off for me with a couple of shades that put it at the very bottom, because I like all my Blend Bunny palettes. That's why I keep them all. But this one I like the color story of. It definitely does embody the 90s and early 2000s for me, because that's the time I grew up. Since I was born at the end of the 80s, the 90s is really like the time when I shined in the early 2000s, because I was in high school then. But I really love the color story of this palette. I think it's really nice, and that's why it got put as high as it did. But there are some color stories I like a little bit more that I like from the brand I've been using longer, so that's why it still got to be where it was. This next one, I feel like you might be somewhat surprised it was above some of these other ones, just because the other one's a little more colorful. However, at the end of the day, when it comes to, you know, quality of it and me being able to use it, sometimes that comes into play as well. And I feel like I would use this palette a little bit more than the other ones. I feel like I would actually combine this palette with the one I just showed you all and be able to get endless combinations of stuff that I like when it comes to what is considered neutral in a neutral sense. So this is the Blend Bunny, the Dollhouse palette. So this was the first palette she came up with. It was supposed to be neutral for neutral people before she did like truly neutral palettes with that Forget Me Not collection. But this is definitely my type of neutrals, because I like the more pinky mauve-ish tone neutrals, not the traditional browns, warm tones. I prefer a cool tone moment, because this palette was right up my alley, and I do like to pair this one with the Sugar and Grunge like I talked about, just because it's like it gives you nice transition shades in here. But you can do a nice smoky eye with the blacks and the blue in here, the classic blue smoky eye, and then turn around and use the grays in there to get some cool toneness added to it. So I really like this as a companion palette for the Sugar and Grunge, but it also can be used alone, and I have used it alone in the past, but I just like this one a tad bit more than Sugar and Grunge. Now the shimmers in here aren't as good as the ones in Sugar and Grunge. She's been consistently improving the shimmer formula, but you know, to each his own. The next one is a classic. This is how I ended up finding out about the brand. Shout out to my girl Karen Harris. You can use code Cage Makeup to buy anything from Blend Bunny, by the way, if you were curious. But yeah, my girl Karen Harris put me on to the brand, and it was the original Blends palette. And I know it's just a rainbow palette, which is why it's kind of in the middle, because I'm like, how many times have we not seen a rainbow palette? But it was the formulas quality of this rainbow palette that made it stand out to me and a lot of other people, which made us excited about this brand. So I had to put the classic in the middle, because it's like it kind of bridges the gap in my collection when I feel like there's certain colors missing out of the palettes I showed before. I will reach for this one, and sometimes if I just need an airbrush shade or extra shade, we'll reach for the ones that have been put ahead of it. So it's a nice middle ground palette in my personal opinion for my Blend Bunny collection, and that's why I made sure I put it in the middle. But she's a classic. I saw they have what is it, the glossy kind of packaging for it now as opposed to this packaging. I like this packaging better personally, but I can understand if you're a working makeup artist that this packaging might get fingerprints and stuff, whereas the glossy one may not do that and get stains and other things. It looks a little more professional, so I get why she did it. So now let's get into my top 5. Do I look who this? Do I look who this? So this is with the Beaute Bar Melted Mattes palette. I told you I just took the yellow out of there, a nice little neon smoky eye moment, if you will. So now that we're in the top 5, let's get into it. So number 5 is the Primal palette. So this is supposed to be another version of the what do you call it, the original blends palette with like the shades that were missing in the blends to complete the full eye look. I love this shade right here. Y'all know I love blues and purples, so that's mainly the side I fluctuate to, but I can understand this being useful to people who do a lot of Instagram makeup, cut creases and things like that, because you get a big black and a big white to help with that. In addition, just some middle transition shades that you might need, or airbrushing shades you might need to put on to show or finish out a look that you feel like isn't completed with the original blends palette. So I get where she was coming from with it, and I do like this one a little bit more because it has shimmers. Now this is her very first shimmer formula if I remember correctly, so I feel like she worked throughout to make it better. It was either this or Dollhouse. That was her original one, and I definitely feel like she improved over time, so that's another reason this one is higher up because it has shimmers in addition to matte. I'm not necessarily crazy about all matte palettes. I understand there's like needs for them for some people who like all matte looks, but it's like I just, you know, I like to have shimmers to my palette. So number 4, unfortunately, has been discontinued. It ranks higher than the other one for its color story. I love a bright moment, as you can see on my eyes right now. So this is the Blend Bunny Surge palette at number 3. It's number 3, right? Yeah, at number 3. No, sorry, at number 4. So I love this palette. I will say though, the neons in here don't work as easily for me as in some other palettes, like the one I just tried from Beaute Bar. I feel like it works very nicely. And then there's the one from Wicked Beauty that works really nicely as well. So I do have some neons that work a little bit nicer, but overall I feel like this one works really well. It's just like the green and the yellow that don't work as best for me out of all the shades in here. And since I have those in other palettes like the one I have on now that work better for me, that's why I could safely rank this one higher. Plus, again, she tried shimmers with it. Or is Surge the first palette she added shimmers to? I feel like it might be Surge, and then it was Primal, and then it was Dollhouse. Don't quote me, but like the first 3 palettes she added shimmers to, she was still working on the formula. Now I feel like she has a pretty decent formula overall, so it works out a whole lot better. But I really like this one because it's like it gives you deep tones to put with these fun pastels for out of V shades, and looks like I have on right now, in addition to just having some nice in between airbrush shades or transition shades to start off with. So overall I feel like this is a great formula, and that's why I put it at number 4. Now on to the top 3. I feel like nobody's gonna be surprised by the top 3. You might be surprised by the third one, but I feel like number 2 and number 1, nobody's gonna be shocked by, just because of the type of shades that I like. And if you're not new, then you know what type of shades I like and I prefer. So the top 3 should be no surprise to you. New eye look who this, new eye look who this. Okay, now so seriously, we're on the top 3 now. I have on the Midnight Moth from Adept Cosmetics. I think the first one I bought from them was Sea Creature or Deep Sea, something like that. It was a gorgeous blue, green, and purple palette, which y'all know is my vibe, but that's what I'm working with on my eyes right now. And this 3 looks 3 palettes I did throughout this video. But number 3 is the Messina palette from Blend Bunny Cosmetics. So I like the color story of this one the best out of all the ones, that she does like the half warm tone, half cool tone-ish type vibe. This color story just spoke to me the most. I do like the primal one that she came out with as well. Both the primal and this one she did with her dad, and this is probably my favorite one. This one is actually the one that's currently on sale, and then you can use code CAGEMAKeup like I told you at the beginning of this video and get a discount on Blend Bunny. So I think it's down to like 20 or 15 bucks now, so I feel like that's a great steal, and it's worth paying the, I think, $10 for shipping, or however much it is for shipping, just because, you know, it's only a $15 palette. So you're getting quite the steal, if I do say so myself, and I do. So I feel like you should definitely get your hands on this one. The quality of this one is amazing. I like the shimmers in this one. Every time the shimmers get better and better. I think this is probably my favorite shimmer formula, besides another one that you'll see in a few minutes. Matter of fact, the top 3 of my favorite shimmer formulas, in addition to mattes, along with color stories, so that's how they got put at the top. But yeah, I really like this one. I'm sad that it got discontinued. I don't know if it's because it brings bad memories, or she just can't hold on to it, or it's not selling as well as other things, and that's why she's selling it so cheap. I couldn't honestly tell you. She usually is very vocal on Instagram though, so if you check out the Blend Bunny Instagram page, there might be some explanation as to why that was going on clearance, but I'm sure y'all don't care. You just happy it's $15. And sis, I ain't mad at you, because Blend Bunny is about the same as other indie brands, but when you can get a deal, you can get a deal. Okay, so number 2 is one of my favorite fall palettes to use. It has nice grungy colors to it, but it has amazing shimmers in it. And like I said, she had been working on shimmer formula, so this was one of the better ones. It is one of the smaller palettes though. If y'all notice, like my smaller ones were missing, so surprise, surprise, they're the ones at the top. I'm not really into big palettes, but I do it for Blend Bunny and a few other brands, depending on how much I really like your formula and color stories and quality of the product. So number 2 is All Done Up from Blend Bunny. This is what it looks like on the inside. It definitely gives me a nice, colorful vibe, if you will. It kind of reminds me of the one that's on my eyes from right now, the Adept Cosmetics one. And it kind of seems like it could be like blended nicely with the one I just showed you, Messina, because I feel like this has the deeper, grungier fall versions of the tones that are in the Messina palette, so you get your fun, bright pop of inner corner color from there, along with some airbrushing shades, and then put some brightness and and you can use this one for depth along with the amazing shimmers in here, because I'm telling y'all, these are so sparkly and so nice. My favorite one in here is Shine. This is one I always seem to reach for whenever I use this palette. I just feel like it's so stunning, and it is easily my favorite It's one of my favorite smaller palettes from them, because obviously it's number 2. So number 1, if you know anything about me or anything about this channel, I love a blue, green, and purple moment. So it should be no surprise that the Lure and the Trove collection, or Lure and Trove palette, are number 1. Now this is the quad I was telling you all about that I just included in here. But you know, it came along with this collection. These are 4 multi-chromes. I think it's like 60 or 70 something dollars. Last time I checked, this was on sale on her website, so you might want to check it out, because it could be a good deal on sale. I said a regular price. I thought it was kind of high, but thinking about how much people charge for individual like shimmers like this, I feel like it might be about the same. It's just, I guess, because when I see it as a palette, I'm looking at it from a palette standpoint and price, and to me this is high for a palette, but you know, to each his own. Anyway, this is what the Laura palette looks like. So needless to say, this is my color story and aesthetic. These mermaid colors and vibes, I'm definitely feeling it. I'm so here for it. If you cover this up, it's perfect to me. But even with this added little neutral section, that's fine, because you some people probably might use the neutrals more than they would use the other colors in here, and use the other colors as pops of color and put them with a lot of their neutral palettes. But it's good for this to be able to have some nice neutral shades and to kind of ground a little bit, so you don't have to look for transition shades and things like that. So I feel like this is perfect for number 1 for me and my personal preferences and taste. And I feel like nobody, and I mean nobody that watches me, should be surprised about this being number 1, because I mean, it's me and I love a good, you know, blue, green, and purple palette. So that's my ranking up on my Blend Bunny palettes. I hope that was helpful to you all, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you're all in diamonds. Make sure you subscribe. The membership is down below if you're interested. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye. The fun doesn't have to stop here. Make sure you follow me over on Instagram for the latest makeup, fashion, and fragrance content, along with palette comparisons that go up there before they go up here.